we will get to be the ones that really profit and really do very well because we understand the bigger potential that is being played here.
If we are in this track with hundreds of billions of dollars, it is easier for us to do a project with a market value of tens of billions of dollars
to explore, and this is a much bigger ecosystem, and there's more.
I put on the VR goggles and I see a character from the metaverse with a gun, an incredible and immersive journey through one of our unique themed scenes.
Welcome, PopMax community. I am here at the Dubai headquarters of not just PopMax, but also a joint venture that PopMax has with an exchange that's coming onto the market. You can see the name of it on the door, NX1. And I'm joined here by a very special individual in our PopMax ecosystem, Pony Wong, who is a major venture capitalist that has diversified into very successful crypto ecosystems. And his latest venture is the PopMax ecosystem that we are involved with. So let's interview him to get a deep understanding of the potential that he saw and what a big play this is from Web 2 social media to Web 3 social media, and how powerful it can be to onboard the masses through a social media platform that we're all used to, and integrating blockchain based technologies, and how big and profitable it could be for us, those that engage on the business side of it. So let's dive into getting those perspectives from Pony himself. He comes from a market that is very innovative in the eastern part of the world. In fact, he's from the province that the owner of Bybit, like one of the largest exchanges in the world, is from, and he actually knows that owner. They used to work together, and now they're branching out into creating their own exchanges, own crypto platforms. So you can see the potential of the caliber of people he comes from. So with that, let's dive into Pony's vision of what he saw to invest and be a part of the PopMax ecosystem.
I just mentioned that I am Mark Mobile Pop Social's main investor. Why are we more optimistic about this track this time? Because we believe that in Pop and Web3, the track we choose is more critical. If we are in this track with hundreds of billions of dollars, it is easier for us to do a project with a market value of tens of billions of dollars. If we choose the wrong track, then it may be the same logic as fishing for small fish in the pond and big fish in the sea. So ours, Pop Social, your PopMax, Papunk, which will be launched in the upcoming Vietnam conference event, and PopX, which will be launched later, are the three ecological projects we are going to put into practice. We will develop an ecological token TPT for public social and push its market value to the range of 10 to 5 billion US dollars that we have set. At this stage, we will then launch one of our own. The mainnet, along with the implementation of our public social application products, will support the market value of our TPT and help elevate it to the next level. This is why I chose to invest in Pop Social.
That's actually very insightful, because I think right now, without a vast ecosystem of what Pop Social and PopMax is to be, all we have is a little glimpse of what is your vision and what you are investing into. I think once the social media platform Pop Social launches, and we can interact with more of the ecosystem, then people will feel, oh my gosh, this is a real project. It is not just a token, which, by the way, is already impressive that they're listed. But right now, we're just earning through the staking model, and we want to see the products come online, the many different verticals, whether it's the social media side, whether it's the real life actual physical businesses that are like metaverse based, whether it's the chain. When can we start seeing any of these products that people that are not just stakers for earning PPT, but actual just users and consumers of Web3 services, when can they start onboarding to experience the bigger Pop Social and Pop Max ecosystem?
Actually, in the development process of our Pub Social, we divided it into two stages. The first stage is mainly to conform to our Grandma 3's route. Because our Pub Social incorporates AI, it includes short videos. We are still in the first stage. The first stage is divided into 3 steps. The first step is to launch PopMax. We have actual products and offline VR experience stores, and then this will be in the Vietnam meeting at the end of March. Currently, as everyone knows, we are already making progress on this. It targets a user group that is also looking for high returns by purchasing PPT to stick. The second step is that our business at PabPunk is essentially conducted primarily by purchasing fashionable and trendy toy figures online. Offline, it involves experiencing the metaverse through VR. This form of experience mainly and specifically targets the Web2 user group, which is in particular the indoor web users. And Punk is also Web2. The third one is PopX, which is actually a fund. We will launch a fund within the Pop series because the Web3 user group seeks high returns, but the amounts are relatively small. However, this is where we act as evangelists in the foreign exchange industry, while Web2, which is our PabPunk, is aimed at the general public. The Web2 group, their returns might be lower for this part of the business, but they are more suitable for many traditional customers. So Web2 users will come in to buy trendy toys, experience VR experience stores, and hold and purchase figurines while also receiving an NFC as a gift. And the third one is PubX. As you are undoubtedly aware, indeed part of our fund's ecosystem, mainly and significantly targeting institutional funds. The funds coming into this area will have even lower returns. Of course, this is not appealing to CN users, but for BN funds, we aim to provide them with compliant annualized returns, which will be very low. These three methods target both the external user group of CN and the Wi-Fi 2 user group of CN. Meanwhile, this PopFork X is aimed at institutional funds. Once these steps are completed, and the purpose of doing these three steps is all to increase the market value of a high PPT.
I think now I understand why there is so much momentum in the Asian market, because they can actually understand his vision. And only now am I getting to understand the big picture of what the pop ecosystem is to be. Of course, we can only see what we have right now. And I think there is a great uh, lack of understanding in the English market, because this has predominantly grown in the sub-Asian culture, and because of him being from that area and from that language, as you can imagine, people resonate with what they can hear about the big picture. But it's up to us to bridge this gap from the east to the west, and we would be the market makers of the Western space, because we're in Web3 era. We can operate from anywhere in the world. But to know that the pop ecosystem is beyond a staking model, which may be their initial phase one, and go into these other verticals, from the physical to their own chain to anything else that may come up, um, all tied in with the PPT token. I wanted to ask, like, how do we bridge the gap from the vision that you have and what you're working on to the Eastern or the Western market, the English speaking world, because it seems like this is now predominantly becoming Asian. They're doing events, they're doing a lot of office openings and whatnot. How can we have help the English speaking communities and to understand the big picture of pop ecosystem?
Well, after what I described just now, it is true that our focus is currently on the Asian market, such as China, South Korea, Vietnam, and part of the market in Japan. These are indeed the areas where we are investing more energy. Of course, we are also actively trying to develop markets such as Europe and the United States, as we just mentioned. Last week, we were also recruiting for the marketing department, and we are looking for capable and committed leaders for markets like Canada or some in Europe. This means that moving forward, we will be able to enhance our efforts in the North American and European markets. Well, the transmission of this information and the management side will become very rich, and we will be able to communicate directly without any language barriers.
Wow, there's so much that I've learned in this interview about the big picture of pop ecosystem. I hope to convey this to our teammates around the world that this is what you're experiencing on the staking side is just surface level, and there's so much deeper to explore. And this is a much bigger ecosystem, and it's because of maybe language barriers, maybe because of predominantly focusing on the Asian market, that those of us that get to understand, as I'm understanding now, we will get to be the ones that really profit and really do very well because we understand the bigger potential that is being played here. It's not just something to glance over. Sure, when the social media side opens up, we will have our first real utility of the ecosystem. But right now, you're already seeing the PPT has increased from like 8 cents to 20 something currently, and the potential is growing with the ecosystem growing. So with that, I just want to ask my final thoughts from Pony about where do you see the pop ecosystem going? What could you compare it to that we could relate to about the big picture of where this ecosystem could end up?
Our public socials development path being divided into two stages. What I described earlier is just the first stage, which consists of 3 steps to complete. You see, once we achieve our target market value, at that point we will launch our mainnet, because our Pop Social is not a product, it is an infrastructure. As we mentioned earlier, our market value of 11 to 51 million USD, which is the completion of our first phase task, we estimate it will take about 1 to 1.5 years to complete this trial production. After setting it up, we will then launch our mainnet and at the same time release the first product running on our mainnet. This product, for example, will be much more refined than our previous 1.0 product. It truly consists of our short videos, even live streaming, as well as anonymous chatting and a blog with functions similar to Twitter.
There's more. So we're going to show actually the next evolution, the next vertical. Please.
First of all, our punk is currently a publicly listed company that has successfully been listed on NASDAQ in the United States. And this is the first offline experience store. We are preparing to open in Vietnam. So it's something just like this. As long as you put on the VR goggles, you can experience an incredible and immersive journey through one of our unique themed scenes featuring Wukong's return to a rare setting. This is our first scene showcasing the amazing Black Wukong.
You experience a story which is actually a very famous Chinese tale that every Chinese person knows, called Journey to the West. I think the English name is Journey to the West. So you get to experience the sights of Guiyang, China.
This is the second thing they're going to launch. It's like an ACS game. So once we get it up and running, you can team up with a few friends, like 3 to 5 of them. I put on the VR goggles and I see a character from the metaverse with a gun. So when they launch this one, basically you put on the VR goggles and you can play games with your friends just by wearing the goggles. Relationships here. Yes, actually the logic is the same. You see, it can PubMark, which is the same as pub markets. Our profit logic is to buy PPT pledges or gold-backed stablecoins and then exchange the stablecoins for PPT. And what about our offline stores? It's actually a combination of 2 business segments. The punk, offline experience store, and the online, trendy collectible figures, especially those kinds of figures that we sell. What happens after you buy the doll? It has certain financial attributes. Well, it's like NFT every year, right? When you buy a doll, you also get NFT. After you pledge it, you will get an annualized return of 100%, which is a few tens of percent. And this is also a point. Well, the points are converted into PPT. And why did we just say that punk is a user group of Web2? Because all our punk project models are, for example, in Vietnam and Dubai. They are all local registered companies. All the dolls and NFTs sold are sold in legal currency. And then the legal currency is converted into income for points and then hours. The reason we collect fiat currency is that it's easier for people to purchase and consume. At the same time, our exports are tokens, so the financial reports of our main company will look very good, which also helps us emerge be faster.
Can you get confirmation that there is a partnership between Pop Punk and PopMax?
Well, actually, we all belong to the ecosystem of Pub Social. This time we can announce our Vietnam meeting at the conference, and at the same time, our founder of Pat Punk will also be presenting at the meeting.
This exclusive interaction that I learned a lot myself. Hopefully, you've taken away the bigger vision, bigger picture, bigger possibilities that we have. And like I said, we're on a gold mine that we don't realize how deep this goes and how big this can grow and how we can grow with it. So a lot more to come now that there's a lot that's been mentioned. I'll provide a lot more context in our group chats and continue to provide content that we can learn. I'll try to bridge my access to Pony to you guys to give you guys the information that you need to understand why this is the place to be. With that, we'll catch you throughout the pop ecosystem. Pop it.